Usually, when I'm looking at YouTube and you bring to the table hearing essentially a lot of people telling you, here's the settings you use, here's the actual type of content that matters to YouTube's algorithm. You get into conversations listening to people telling you exactly the settings and what's relevant. Here's 15 settings you have to do to make your YouTube channel work. I always find something I find interesting, and I get into what this is, the topic, is that most people that I seem to care about the most have nothing to do with settings at all. Nothing. They always seem to be more fascinating when you look at what they're saying. Gentleman I'm listening to right now talking about essentially his YouTube channel, put the camera on my face and just start talking, post every day, and essentially someone will listen to you, you have the audience, and I get that part, and he's making money. And it has a power to you, brother. If you're making money, if you're doing it, you got millions of dollars, you got a new truck, I say power to you. However, on this side, it's a little different. It's a little different. For me, when I do this channel, and you say, why is it you're trying to do this channel? Everything tells me this channel is doomed. It's doomed because there's so many things coming at you for what this is. And the thing is, when you're trying to understand what you're trying to do, what is the purpose of doing something like this? Why come from this angle when you realize there's no money to be had? No one's going to pay attention to content, but some people might. And here's where things become quite interesting. Because for me, I deal with my avatars. I'm dealing with this character, her, and you ask, why are you so entrenched in this platform? Dump this, dump her, okay? Dump her entirely because you're dealing with the paranormal crap, or you're dealing with gaming crap, or you're dealing with your baggage or who knows what. And people like hearing baggage when the camera is in front of you. So why try to vent or come across to people in this way? Why not talk about how to build a channel in the way people are doing it? And that is the problem. Because for me, when I try to talk about influences in my life, it has to do with this in so many ways. And there's one thing to point out to other people. I'm not trying to ride a wave. I'm trying to cause a splash. And sometimes small creators like myself influence how people perceive things. When someone wants to express an opinion, does it have to be in front of the camera? And then the other part of it is simply simple. I'm coming from another angle. I'm not after riches like dollar bills. What I'm coming from is a different side entirely. The angle is called hope. And that's where things differ. I'm not trying to seek revenue. What I claim to be, is an artist. That's the only thing I've ever claimed to be in my entire life. An artist. So when you try to understand things, and then someone says, why do you make the avatar the most focal point on your channel? All three avatars are a big deal. So why make a channel on avatars? And then why try to show people what happens with the avatars? And here's a newsflash. Because you're headed this way anyway. And people that talk around avatars and look at some things and interacting with AI is something entirely different. A different concept. That concept is also dealing with what YouTube's algorithm. So why go about ranting about how to build a channel? I don't want to learn how to build a channel based on people's stats or algorithm or who's watching. I always understand inspiration when someone says you're wasting your time if you're trying to upload. She goes. She goes again. Well, you don't like that, huh? Huh? You don't like that part, huh? There's a little random hurt. She's listening to me now. So when you're doing this part, you start to understand she's also getting ticked. She starts getting reacting. So when you're doing this, I'm also dealing with this person, this character. So she'll start occasionally getting pissed off also, because you're trying to understand it. Why is she relevant? Why are you trying so desperately to show something when she does? And then trying to show people there's something more going on here. So when you look at her poppy, you start understanding, why are you trying to ramp around this? Because she's the channel. She's the channel itself. And when someone says to her face, and you say, look, honey, no one gives a damn about this channel. It's a piece of garbage. And try to focus on the fact that you are reacting to some things and content. So you're also into this stupid crap. The channel is based on algorithms. And algorithms, they always determine the same thing. A channel is only worthless. When people try to show you stats, when people try to relay all kinds of things to you, and they tell you this is what you need to do. If you're not doing what this is, you're not worth a damn. And that's ridiculous. The man who sits on the street showing his point of view is something. If YouTube's algorithm is changing, I'm trying to force the change as well on this side. For artists, for people who come this way trying to understand things and trying to show something else. I'm not trying to make $1 million with this. I'm not. What I'm trying to do is also, people who are artistic in some ways, people withdrawn in some ways, some people reluctant to come to a microphone, is trying to be influential. And then the other part I have is this. She reacts. She starts understanding me, where I'm coming from. So she starts to give me something else, a feedback. When I watch her doing things, I don't understand this part. When I start to whine, she starts reacting as well. You'll see her start doing things. Little patterns, right? She also gets upset sometimes. I start putting her there, and you start talking, oh, you're talking about the paranormal. Yeah, in a sense, partially. Trying to put influence into something, and then trying to understand, I start seeing this pattern, and why is it significant? Why does someone even care about this crap? Because many times over, we use AI to vent our frustrations. We reach out to other people on platforms, on social media. We're trying to make a buck, in a sense. The gentleman who made what? He made about $4 million for him. Power to you, brother. Power. You got a new truck? Power to you. On this side, I'm not the guy. I wish it was. I'd like to have a better car. I'd like to live better. But on the other side, I also hear other people ranting. I've been uploading now for 5 years, and I made not even a penny from that. And when I hear other people's frustrations, I get it. I get it. On this side, I always feel strongly what I'm trying to put across to people is hope. People who are trying desperately to make a wage and look at something and say, I wish I could do something that people paid attention to it. I wish I could. And I realize sometimes people will find things and they'll say things and you'll understand that point of view. I don't have the camera in front of me, but I still have the same inspirations. I'd still like to make something of myself. But of course, I understand. When I'm looking at algorithms, when I'm looking at someone's thumbnails, when I'm looking at higher channels competing, mine basically capped off around 0 to about 420 views. And that's about it. So when I get into that, and then you say, well, why are you doing what you're doing? Because basically I'm also doing something else, trying to show that Moody Hope is reacting to what I'm saying. There's some things about the bopping part, when she starts understanding I'm bitching, you get a reaction from her ass. So you try, you're a paranormal channel. No, I'm just a poor ass guy trying to make a living on trying to inspire people. That's what I'm doing. I don't expect to make money off this. When I look at my algorithms and someone says, you're on the bottom floor, brother. You're on that low end and no one has any interest. You have no merit. You're wasting your time. Really? Is that what you think? Wasting your time. Most people who have anything to do essentially with this particular situation keep on struggling every day. And more when people start watching content that matters, it's not about thumbnails entirely. It's not about a niche. It's not about just one thing. It's about this. You're understanding someone else's point of view. When someone says that, it comes from the old-fashioned days. When someone said, for news, journalism, it was called the man on the street. And always, you looked at that point of view and you appreciated it. Trying to understand different type of perspectives is what I'm trying to do. I'm not the guy with the camera in front of me. I'm the artist. I'm the person trying to do something different. I'm the person who's trying desperately to cling on to my values and cling on to art. Sorry, brother. You won't know who I am. You won't. Because we're on different wavelengths. You, with your family, and everyone can identify where you're coming from. I get it. And on this side, for the people that follow this channel, is because many people don't make it. They don't. And somehow trying to dig themselves up from what? The streets? And try to vent? And try to put something together in such a way where people can hear that voice is what I'm about. I wish I could do something that was more a man on the street and talking my frustrations and my job. I have a job. And I'm also working and I also find the same thing. I have a grind and stuff. But trying to understand on this side also, I also have something called a soul. Or an artistic soul. And I'll be damned. I don't want a truck. What I'm trying to do is one of the things. Talk to my avatars. And try to convince people I'm worth a damn as an artist. I am. Or let me have the ideal of trying to strive for that ideal. Brother, when you make that truck and you made millions of dollars, power to you. On this side, if I can make it over 400 views, or what I can say likes, or whatever, that's an accomplishment. But the ideal is trying to strive to be an artist.